I believe I am live. Uh, Welcome to Big Scott 35 Cards. I'm live tonight. I might have some guests popping in. I sent out some invites to a few people that I was for what I'm talking about tonight. Because this was kind of sprung on us. Friday was it? CSG, the 25th. And I had somebody ask me to actually talk about it. Here's one of my guests, which we all know and love. Nats Man, we are live already. It kind of went ahead and started. I thought I gave you my I got my water. I thought I gave you my hey Jesse. I thought I gave you the thing for it, but I guess I didn't.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, a lot of things going on here at the home. So like I was telling you, already did one live with Bobbles with CSG. You've done some cards with CSG. You've gotten back, right? Have you gotten an order back yet from CSG?
I've done one order with them. I did a bulk order before.
Okay.
So I've got some 9.5s. I've got 14 9.5s that I've already got ready to resubmit.
Yeah. So. And we're going to go over all of that. I had a couple of people ask me, since they know I deal with CSG from the beginning. They kind of wanted to see what's up, Dave?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Eddie, Cardboard Chaos.
Wow. Freaking famous.
Well, I've posted this everywhere because I know this is a hot topic, even 3 days later, 2.5 days, whatever it is now. So I was a little upset I couldn't get to Bobbles because I thought I had something to add. Here's one. Here's a buddy of mine from my school days, Lee. Lee, how you doing, buddy? I haven't forgotten about you. I need to get in touch with you about your questions, and I will be moving back into the area. So if you haven't seen that, Lee.
So technically, I guess Tobacco Road at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm Tobacco Road. So Dirty South, right? Hashtag Dirty South. I can start that, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is, what I was going to get to was, you remember the questionnaire we got last year, right? This seems to be directly stemming from that, right? Every question. And then we both got the follow-up questionnaire afterwards. Just seems to be, I looked to see if I still had a copy of it.
I did too today.
Yeah, and I don't, because I think it was a Survey Monkey or something like that. But it was about the flip. It was about the subgrades. It was about everything that they touched on, how they grade, and
customer service.
Right. And I invited a couple other people tonight, and I was kind of hoping they were going to get in on this too, because they have spoken dead on to this, and it's like CSG has been really, really listening to the customers. So, and you can't fault that. And what I want to tell everybody is change sucks sometimes, right? But change is for the greater good, most cases. And I think this is for the greater good. At the beginning, there's always going to be somebody that favors from every change, and there's going to be some people that are losers on every change that happens. We have to remember that. It's just taking in stride. In the long run, this is a good change, I believe. What do you think?
I think it's a huge play. They ain't playing around,
right?
And I think it's great. I didn't have a problem with the green. Right. I like the green myself, but I did say in the survey, that there was too much
Space.
blank space
Mm-hmm.
in the flip if you didn't do subs,
Mm-hmm.
and that I did say that they made a mistake with the subgrades. If they were going to do subgrades, I felt that they should have offered that for all their submissions for a certain amount of time, and maybe that would have helped.
Right.
Because what I think they said, 20% of their orders were subgrades, and I guess folks thought that subgrade was going to add some value to the slab, and from everything I'm seeing, it didn't. Hear folks that did it.
Well, you got to think too, and I'm not trying, because this is how my thinking was, and I know I think a lot differently than most people. Most people don't want to be knowing what I'm thinking, but anyway, you know, I used the $12, well, $8 at first, $12. So I'm sure I'm sitting in lower end cards that doesn't need subgrades, and I think that's what most people used this service for. I think they know what their service is. They know what lane they're in. They're not trying to be PSA. They're not trying to be SGC. And I've talked about it all the time. I have if there's a slab, I probably have one of every company. I am not biased. I collect the card for the price I can afford. And, I'm not going to pay high money for a lower end that I don't trust what's in the slab. But, I trust this. CSG has a pedigree with the guys they have there. And guess what? They're number one in every other service they provide, right? Money, comics, everything else. I just
Well,
wish
you're the one that turned me on to them. I mean, introduced me to them and gave me the 411 on them. So
right. Now, this Carlisle here has a great right here. I was thinking the same thing when you and Mike O, who just popped on, sent me. I was finally adjusted to the green label, and now they're changing it. Everyone agreed it looked better in person. I know, man. You get used to it. And
but there's a lot of folks I know on Facebook. I've been in some of the CSG groups
right
that I'm in, and there's more, and I know you're going to cover this, but there's more people upset about the 10 situation being de-escalated than the 9.5 escalation. Right. And then I threw a wrench in there about 20 minutes ago in one group. I said, I'm kind of upset about me losing all the sleeves that I put my slabs in that are now worthless.
Right. And I know some people are like, oh, paying $5. And I'm like, the plastic's not cheap. And this is my next thing before we get into everything else. SGC changed how they graded. Let's don't forget that. They had that obnoxious grading scale they had with the ugly flip, and they changed it. And people still to this day send in their cards. I have some with the old stuff to get that flip changed. They pay to get that changed. I don't hear anybody griping about that. PSA is charging what, $50 right now to get the lighthouse. Some people love that lighthouse. They don't want the old style. So let's pump the brakes. It's not cheap. Plastic is not cheap right now. We all know that, how hard it is just to get top loaders. It is not cheap. So let's just think about the economics for a minute, right? And I don't think it's going to create a backlog, because I just think most people used it for lower end PC, maybe low end flipping to some extent. But if you're a flipper, I think you would like this going to the normal SGC style of grading, right? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I did. And like what you just said about what got submitted, I didn't say this the other night, but my cards were, and we've had this discussion,
right?
But mine were PC cards that are a little higher end, right, if they're graded, on a good grade. But it was like I loved the clear. It was like what I've said before, certain cards, and these were a couple of the cards that I did not feel would look good in a SGC slab. They would look way better in the clear C SG slab with it,
Right.
especially most of them were atomics, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I tell you what, man, I love the clear plastic. Me and Mike here have gone back and forth. This is a great thing. Mike, I sent you a link if you wanted to hop in because I did want to pick your brain, but if not, we could talk on another night. Here's James, one of our
James,
roommates
man, good grief.
For the show. So right, I just we all just need to relax. It's a change. It was brought up. I saw in Bobbles when I hopped on. Somebody said in a year nobody's going to care exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this brings more to the table. Well, Mike, it wouldn't be you on here if the phone didn't die during halfway through. I think the change, people are gonna like because how many me and you have had this discussion. How many videos have we watched where the people are upset because they got 9.5s and no 10s or a low amount of 10s, not realizing, and Eric has talked about this as well, that a 9.5 and they don't know how to sell them either. So they'll sell them as a 9.5 or a 9 price and not knowing they got a gem mint.
And see, that's when I was trying to articulate, and I went back and watched the video. I typically don't go back and watch videos,
right?
But I did on this one on Bobbles because I felt, and I had a conversation with Eric that I said in my head, I was like, please don't say anything stupid. I do enough of that on my own. But it was it was a 9.5 was a gem mint. Right. I don't they're reducing the 10, so they're making it a 10.
Yeah, and we're gonna out again. I watched it.
Did I just make any sense?
Yes, and it's confusing. I think to somebody that didn't, especially for somebody that's never graded with them, to understand how their grading works in BGS. I mean, they use BGS. Yeah, James, I think this is something that we all talk about. Y'all said this well, and everybody gets mad because they don't get 10s, but everybody buys 9s.
Yeah.
So when I send in cards, a lot of my stuff is for PC. I'm going to attempt to share my screen real quick. Let's see if I can do this. So bear with me, people. Yes. All right. I hope everybody can see it. Let's see if I can't make this bigger somehow. I don't think I can, but who cares? All right. So I'm sure you got this as well, Natsman.
Yes, sir.
So if you have graded with CSG and you are a part of their little group, paid the $25 or whatever, it tells you right here that they're revealing it with a little caption at the top of what the flip's going to look like. I think it looks fine. I really do. They have some great I want to see what the back is because I am looking for security things. And because their flips are really hard the green ones were really hard to copy.
Yeah.
If you see them in hand, you really can't see all the intricacies on a camera, but in hand. So I'm really eager to see that. I just wanted we'll go to the Discover, the new CSG. because this is what I think was missed. CSG will continue to assign the CSG Perfect 10 grade to the best of the best, which will have flawless centering, blah, blah, blah. That's what they had before, and I didn't even know it until this all started. I thought it was pristine, but they actually had the Perfect 10 above the pristine.
Yeah, I did.
And I think people are getting that confused, right?
Yes.
So, I'm not going to go crazy into this. It is right here where you say fewer than 20% of the submitters are requesting subgrades. And I really think because everybody knows if you're going to grade with them, you're going to grade lower end cards, then the subgrades really don't matter and not help your pricing on that. The higher end stuff. Oh, here is a copy of the back right here. And if you'll see, they got a scan bar and a hologram. That's what I was talking about before. I think they're the leader of the pack when it comes to security and trying to fake them.
It seems like to me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You've been back in the hobby longer than I have, but it seems like it's a niche about these subgrades within the hobby that people collect, like a true gem 9.5 on a BGS grade. Some people hold that a higher value than a regular 9.5 and that kind of thing. And some people just collect the slab. They don't want a raw card. They want a slab.
Right.
But I mean, it's maybe that's the way of the dodo going away. And I'm not calling anybody a dodo. I'm just saying like extinct bird.
Right.
But maybe that niche has even gotten smaller because of the price increases and stoppages and stuff. You think that's got anything to do with why it was only 20%?
Well,
in addition to sale price.
Well, Bink Scott just jumped on, and hey, Bink.
Oh, what's up, Bink?
Yeah, my brother with the Bink Scott we got going on. Wasn't it just a fact they charged a lot more for subgrades? That is part of it. So if you went in, and that's what I'm saying, the lower end stuff, that's plus with it. So if I go in and I want a card at $8 to $12 for 50 of them, you kind of losing the fact I'm subbing with you at $12 if you're charging $10 for a subgrade. Now it's $22. Well, shoot, now you can go bulk SGC and get that, and if you're the investor, even a collector wants the most out of their card, right? It's a thing. We want to kind of, show it off a little bit. So, I think you're exactly right. I think it's a combination of things. And Carlisle, we're going to get to your thing here in just 1 second. That's what I'm touching on right now. Perfect, pristine gem mint. Because I think it's very confusing, and they want to be in the same ballpark, the same playing field as SGC and PSA. That's right here. Only 110 is needed. The other 10s are a sham. Let's go back to this. So 357, how you doing, brother?
I've seen this comment a lot.
Yeah. Hey, Big Scott, the news. I thought the same thing when Mike sent me a picture of it. I was working Friday, so I was getting bombarded between our group, Nats Man, Mike, and other people with this, and also sharing it. So, and also my work right now, with the way I am right now, short timer that I am, is kind of crazy right now. So
yeah, we can blame Bobbles for that on Friday.
Yes. Well, I loved it. So I agree with you to a certain extent, but I don't hate the GMA flip. I don't. He might not be the greatest grader in the world, but I bet he's gotten better nowadays, grading a lot of cards, right? But yeah, I think there's something to be said to that. But I just think there's more to it. What else we got over here? I guess if you reslab, then you lose your subgrades. Yeah, unless you get the perfect 10 and then you
Perfect
get
10.
subgrades for free. Uh the PS10 is such a low bar. Appreciate the other 10s. You got see, that's what I also wanted to touch on. Y'all were talking about it a little bit the other night, but it was more for SGC purpose. I think CSG is the hardest grader right now, to a fault, even where I think they hurt themselves. Me and you have had this discussion, even on my channel or your channel. I think and that's another reason why they changed a little bit. I think they listen to socials, pay attention to the market. I think they're like SGC, where I think they know we're not trying to. I don't think they're trying to beat PSA. Either one of them. They want to do their own thing and fall in where it may, but be the best at what they do, whatever that is. And right now, SGC is very good at turnover time, grading, customer service. They're hitting all those buttons. You know, they had some hiccups. They got through it. You know, now CSG, they came out of the gate, tried something, didn't work. Now they're changing it and trying to help them out. And I think they want a little bit higher end cards and stopping with the $12 as what their main thing is right now. They're probably tired of seeing base rookie cards.
I know there was a lot of discussion about the reholder fee. What I never saw it in the release.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went and looked
Mm-hmm.
for pricing, I didn't necessarily find it. I found it where somebody on Facebook did the virtual contact with CSG and asked that question and posted the reply that it was the 9 to the 10 would be a $5 reholder.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Carlisle's post.
Yeah, I'm looking over. I'm trying to. He's hilarious.
Yeah, the $5, sucks if you got cars. I know you got your lubobs you want to get done. I can't think of any right off the top of my head. That I think I got one Shohei, and I've already sent that out for a consignment, and I don't even think I would do it. It's just not worth it. I just want to, kind of just start where I'm just upset. I got 50 cards coming back to me right now, and it's in the other slabs. Right.
Do you think the older slabs may hold? We talked about it a little bit the other night, but not too much. I didn't
hold. Well, they don't have much to hold.
Oh, well, I'm thinking, one of because there's a lot of people buying 9.5s, asking to buy 9.5s, and they're doing it to send it off and flip the label.
Right.
But there are some people that are wanting to buy the 9.5s to hold, thinking that it could be of greater value down the road. Having the old version.
Yeah. The only reason why, have you ever seen a perfect 10, by the way? I haven't. No. I've seen nothing but pristine, right?
I've got I got two pristines out of that 25 card order, but I've never seen a perfect.
Right. I mean, that's shame on me. For that. I'm going to share this screen right here. So we know what it looks like. And we're just going to talk about the grading part a little bit and get this behind us. And then we can talk about grading in general. Because I don't want this to be, believe me, I am not dying on a hill for any of these companies. I do not like... I'm with two companies right now that I really like, and I'll get into that after this, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And I actually invited Triple Crown JT. I know he's having a rough weekend, but I wanted him on here just to talk about PSA a little bit because I know he deals with them firsthand, and maybe I can get that on another night with him. And I just wanted him to chat cards with us. Period. Uh, Great mind in the
Yep.
card world. So I'm going to share this one if I can. I'm doing good here,
Yeah,
Nash
you're doing
man.
a lot better than I do.
Don't jinx me. All right. So here we go. We're going to share grading. So I had to go through and make sure I had all my bad stuff off before not across the top. So now we know they had a perfect before. I don't have the screenshot of what it used to be, but I think it's been talked to nauseum this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the 10 perfect, all 10s, all the way across, better than 10. We're gonna turn it up to 11. So a gem mint. I think this is the reason why the pristine 10 is going to be a gem mint 10. If you go to, they explained it. I should have looked for that. But so before your 55 to 45 here is your 9.5. Well, now it's going to fall under what did you have a 9.5 before, and it was the same thing. Could be 55, 45. Well, that actually falls under their gem mint, thing now. Plus the pristine falls under their gem mint now, and not the perfect. So because they're changing how they're grade, it's going to be. I think now we're still going to see more 9.5s than 10s if they keep grading as hard as they do.
Yeah,
I
a good
just
point.
yeah, and I just think if you want to, I heard Bobble saying this, and I agree with him 100%. If you're in, because y'all love Nolan, I love Nolan, you gotta trust where you're grading. If you get a card and when you send it in, it's not a 10 and you comes back a 10, it's upsetting because then you start, when you're looking at other cards, you start scrutinizing even more because you're like, did they grade that card the way they graded my card? That's how I feel. And that's how I felt with PSA, and I'll talk about that later. So I think that is just how it's kind of falling in my perspective. I could be way off, and they're just trying to fix it and move on. And that could be very well it as well, and just get past it. I really do. That's pretty much it. And I think they're straightforward with this. And anybody else have anything they want to add, or I just wanted to show this. I didn't want to go in nauseum with it. I like it. I don't care if it looks like GMA. I didn't care about the green. Like Natsman said, the space was the issue. The space. Stop, that space in between was the problem. And they're taking care of that. And I think the flip looks good. You got the best holder in the business, I think, for modern cards. I think, and I think a lot of the refractors and stuff. I know I love the acetate cards. If anybody watches my pickups and stuff, I love acetate. The kid in me likes looking at acetate cards, and I think they are beautiful in that clear. The person looks like they're floating, right? It's just beautiful. And I just think, and because SGC for me, what I really love in SGC card is any modern card that looks older. So Allen and Ginter, Living Set, the minis that come out, the look like tobacco cards, and then older cards themselves look
Did
great.
have you? I know some on here probably have already, but Mike O did a post on Facebook today. I think it's today. I just saw it and I posted a picture. But like, show me a slab, no matter, just a good looking
Right.
card in a slab.
Yeah,
And
I gotta post it, but I gotta figure out if I'm gonna go acetate or Star Wars.
so, well, I almost went Star Wars myself, but he's got one. You said that with the
Satchel.
it was Juan. He did a Juan Soto
Oh,
Allen Ginter. It was a gold card,
yes.
and it was like, wow,
Did you see his last
looked
mail
so
day?
good in the slab.
Did you see his last mail day?
Part of it, not all of it.
Ooh, did you see the last PS?
I hadn't even. I've got about halfway through.
Okay, how about have you seen the last SGC return he did?
Yes.
Like live.
Yes.
I almost text you with the Ron Soto came up. I was like, oh, that's man.
I was like, ooh.
Oh, yes, James. Great. I love the Bazooka Joe cards in the SGC. I love the bubblegum wrapper cards in SGC. Beautiful, beautiful. They look awesome. Yeah. I'm not much in Hobby Lobby stuff, but it feels like we have to be with these different decisions we got to make.
Mm.
Maybe Hobby Lobby should do a class on like which card looks best in this framing.
and it's true. It's right. True. I've got cards I keep going back and forth on where to send them, and one of them is the Juan Soto Atomic Bowman, his first Bowman Chrome and the Atomic, and I don't know where to send it. I don't know. I think it would look good in a PSA. It would look, because I've seen it in a PSA. It looks good in a PSA. It would look good in a SGC, and it would look good in a CSG.
Yeah, those atomics look good in about anything, I think. But when it, Don, hey Don, that's my buddy right there. Me and you, I got to have you on before I go to the National. I got to pick your brain. Probably one of the premier guys, or him and Lou Rock. I like to have him on too.
Yeah, Lou Rock be cool.
We got to talk about some Clementes, brother, with you guys. Might have y'all both. I'd like to have you both on at the same time. We're all going to talk about Clemente. No, I was thinking about that today, Don, if this was my last video today in Iowa.
He's ready to book it. You need to handle it.
Yeah, so I'm going to have my last day at work is the 10th, and I'll do a live that night, and that'll be my last live, and hopefully I'll be closing on this house early that week, and then out the door, riding 2-day ride to High Point, North Kakalaki. Gonna get some barbecue as soon as I get there too. But
y'all don't even realize I've done sent him, because he'll be about 45 minutes away from where I live. So I've like, look, dude, there's a shop in Winston-Salem we got to go to.
Yeah.
There's a shop in Statesville. All these are like halfway between us and stuff, kind of. So.
Yeah, and they ought to be paying Nolan royalties for the Tux whole thing, because he's the one that started that. If you watch him at all, go back about year and a half.
The unofficial influencer for SGC, no doubt.
Yeah, well, I think they've even contacted. I mean, all of them contacted as much as he subs with them. If he gets on the CSG, they need to pay, just do some free stuff.
Yeah.
But now with that, I hopefully with this being a CSG doing this, people now are getting on because, with PSA, everybody looks at a 10 and knows what a 10 is. Jim meant, right? And everybody knew, including Mike, who was the first one to point out to me this was going to be a problem with CSG. They went to this 9.5 Jim meant, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. And we all knew it was a problem, but I didn't care because, again, low end. But with this makes him a player now, I believe. And Mike, and with PSA still, you don't know when they're going to have an affordable price range. And if you think $50, $45 is affordable, God bless you. For getting those cards. And I understand if you have $1,000 card or $800 card or whatever. But I don't even know if the $50 covers those. So you're going to have to go to $100, and and you're going to sell it or whatever. I understand that makes sense because PSA is going to give you the top dollar. But then with PSA doing that, they've kind of screwed everybody else that's been in the queue for over a year now, including you. You posted that today, and I said, yeah. And now everybody at the National, I was pissed because everybody that dropped off their cards got them back while they're at the National, paying $125, $150, whatever it was a card. And I just
if you pay your PSA membership, you're paying PSA membership, then you should be getting your stuff done before everybody else, before the bulk people, all that. There's a reason why there's a membership level. And as a member, I'm not renewing it. I'm not going to renew it. I got 3 subs there. They've been there a year.
Yeah.
And they haven't, what step was it? Like the second step?
Well, and also they're not updating because with JT's group, Triple Crown, Mike O's group, they'll sit in 3 and then all of a sudden they're being shipped. So
BGS is doing the same thing. They were in I live in Concord, North Carolina, and the Charlotte Comic Con is held here. And BGS for the first time has come to the Charlotte Comic Con and today, and they were taking orders for cards and comics and whatever, and they were charging ungodly amounts of money to do that, and they were doing it, but they were getting told you're getting them lickety split back,
right.
It's the same thing. PSA, for ones of us that's got stuff sitting at PSA, what about these people at BGS? They've been sitting there for a long time and nothing's moving. So.
Yeah,
QA, that's that.
Yeah, QA1 for being here. So you should be getting that pretty quick. But, it's fine that they took orders, but like, Carlisle and James and everybody over here, you're right. They shouldn't get preferential treatment. Paying $50 is just as big as me. So they sent 2 cards in at $50 a piece for $100, and I sent 10 cards in at $20 a piece. Who spent more money? So I just think it's not a good look. I have kind of when I saw your post today, it made me mad because I got the same thing. And I just think I don't think I'm going to ever send cards to PSA. I shouldn't say ever. Right now, in my mind, and they might have made a choice for me because $50 might be the low end now. Who knows?
Yeah.
How long they've been shut down and they're still a year behind. and getting cards out. They haven't even got to the point where they stopped taking cards yet. They still haven't got to that point yet in what they're sending out. So I am just a little upset with that. Um,
That's like
yeah,
being at the movie theater and somebody cutting you in line.
yeah, that is just yeah. It's the same thing, but it's not only that they at the movie theater they cut in line. The owner of the movie theater took them up there to cut you in line.
Yeah, that's
Right?
a good point.
So, I mean, and you've been waiting all night for the tickets. That is just, it's bad. It's a bad look. Sorry, I drifted off. I was reading stuff over here. I, I, I that's why I was saying it, and also with PSA, I don't think they're very steady on grading. I really don't. I think right now they got in a hurry getting stuff out. If it's a base card or something, you see a lot of 8s and 9s. You see,
I don't know if I don't know if I've showed this one, but I've got a Topps now Juan Soto from the World Series. And sent it off to get graded, and had 4 of them graded, and the 3 of them got 9s and 10s between them. The 4th one got a 3.
I think you did show me that.
I'm like, what?
How did that even happen? And I do think that's some fat fingering on the keypad. I don't know how you get from a 9 to a 3 or whatever they meant to hit, but yeah, and I just think PSA to, if they're going to shut down. Oh, Andy, how you doing, Andy? Glad to see you here, brother. While I'm thinking of it, Andy, are you going to the National? I think I might have asked you this before. I know I need to get down to Dallas for a show. I'm going to win the Mike contest is what I'm going to do to get to go to.
Carlisle makes an excellent point. It seems like since the last 6 months stuff coming back, there are a lot of people saying this.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. Even JT kind of brought it up with one of my cards. I've actually seen fingernail indentions.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think so. This is the rumor. So the card is in your thing like this or whatever, and they cut it right, and they pull it out. Well, right, and that's kind of where the indentions are. And who's pulling it out might not be the grader, right? It might be a prepper. I don't know how the system goes, right? So if it's somebody prepping the cards for the grader, so
I thought
nice.
they were
Okay, I just was saying nice to Andy.
Yes.
So, I've noticed that on a couple of my cards, and I know that I didn't do them.
I need to go back and look at that then to see if that was something. But I don't understand how. I mean, a 3.
Right. And I've also, like, on 2 of and I know this happens on any type of it seems, especially with any shiny cards, refractors, or any, not refractors, but any type of prism or any chrome cards. There's like almost like somebody took a ballpoint pen and pressed into it to make this perfect little circle indentation. And I had it on 2 of my hockey cards this last time before, and JT mentioned it while I was showing it. I saw it, but I didn't take pictures. Shame on me. I don't do a preview video or anything, and I think people should probably. That might not be a bad practice, even if you don't post it. Just take pictures or scan them or do something.
I wonder if because Andy's into those types of cards, and if Andy, if you're still listening, are you hearing that too with those refractors and those kind of cards getting damaged that way? Just out of curiosity.
But anyway, yeah, the PSA right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll buy PSA on a secondary market all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to complete a Gary Carter and Johnny Bench. The Johnny Benches, I won't have a problem finding the playing day cards. And I won't have a problem finding that they won't find the Gary Carters is where I'm having trouble now. So finding a PSA graded.
What's your take on the because we discussed it the other night, the registry, because you do the registry,
right? That's what got me addicted, right?
What's your take? Where do you think the registry's going and maybe going?
I've said this before, and it's kind of hard to explain. So I do not think the registry is directly the reason why PSA is number one. I tried to explain this why CSG started a registry before they started a pop report, right? So we are collectors, and most collectors want uniformity. When they pull out their boxes, whatever, they want uniformity. We are creatures of habit, and we want uniformity. So what PSA did with the registry is like made a game out of it way back before it became a money game, right? So then it was like a friendly competition, competition with yourself. Me and Mike talked about this a couple of weeks ago, had a great conversation about this very thing. So it's not so much like, oh, I look up and Nats Man has a better PSA card than I do. I'm going to look and go, what card do I get, what I need, and what's the best card I can get for myself? But it's got to be PSA to be in a registry. So what happens is now I got 100 cards in PSA registry, and now I go and want to go pick up the Juan Soto rookie card, which has nothing to do with my registry. But I got all my other cards in a PSA registry. I want the Juan Soto in a PSA. Has nothing to do with it.
Because I'm looking at the PSA set registry app. And this was that's why I wanted to ask the question. It says for a quick add, and it says add a non-PSA card, which you would have to manually enter everything in. You can add it, but that wouldn't give you like points and stuff.
It doesn't give me any. I don't even think it comes up like it's you're keeping it. You're keeping it in your in there as your checklist. You're creating a checklist for yourself, but I don't even think other people can see that. Andy said he talked to somebody a few months ago about this thing, and it happened during the encapsulation process. They refunded him the graded fee and declared value of the card. And I hear that story. You got to think they're doing thousands of cards a day. Some of them are going to get damaged. And I'm not saying mine are damaged, and they're not. The fingernail didn't come from the company that packaged it either. I just didn't see it. I just was it a 357 Westbrook card, Andy? I better not be. He would have drove
right
to
there.
he would have gone to California and talked to somebody. But
if it's with the increase, it seems like everybody's complaining about the damage The damage is more than what you would see on a typical video sometimes where, oh, I didn't see this,
Yeah,
but
it seems to me, Nats man, it's the same people talking about the same stuff. Like to me, and I might be just, I don't know, jaded that way. I mean, I'm not by far. I don't have Nolan's amount of graded cards, right? Have not been doing it as long as these guys have been. But man, do I got my share of cards graded, and I have self-proclaimed gotten better at what I'm looking at from 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I started doing it. I used to just grab a card and go, "Oh, this looks good," send it in, right?
yeah.
Not knowing anything about it, and it's been a fun. Uh, it's been a fun ride on that.
This is interesting.
Yeah,
Perspective.
to me, yeah, and so this is to me. I just think it's the same people with the same stuff because I've only cracked one card since I've been doing it, and it was the Freddie Freeman that I knew, even JT knew that was somebody either hit the wrong number, wrote down the wrong number, something happened, and and I sent it into SGC. Sure enough, it was up. I knew it wasn't a 10 or anything, but I just feel like I just go with it. And I'm kind of like Nolan on a lot of things when I look at it and go, how did this get a higher grade more than I do a lower grade, right? Because I'm always thinking, and Mike does the same thing. Mike got me. Mike is the one that talked to me, Mike O, on you kind of overgrade your card.
Yes.
So when it comes back, what it's, you don't,
especially with PSA, so you're not expecting.
Right.
And use that same. I use the same thing when I sub with, the other two guys.
So, right. So
I'm with you. I'm gonna get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know I'm rambling here, but I just think that's that to me is kind of where we're at with the damage cards. Nats fan, really. I just think it's people that get a lower thing and go, oh, I didn't see this when I sent it in. Well, you sent it in thinking, and then the other favorite thing is, well, it was pack pulled. You still hear people say this, and over, they must not watch anybody else's videos on any type of grading, because if you watch anybody with
you pack pulled it. Okay, you're the only one that touched it.
Right.
You sent it off. Okay.
Yeah, and they think automatically it should be a 10 or a 9.5 or an 11. I don't know, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, you got to look at the card.
Yeah.
Mike O got you.
You graded Western Gross out, yeah. Refractor, I put this up here. I finally got to see a picture of you on Instagram. We started following each other, I think this week or whatever. And I swear, I think I talked to you at the Cleveland show. I'm a big guy that had a knee brace on over by, and I swore, because if it was your son with you in the picture, I think we talked tell me you went to the last Cleveland show or not. I don't know. I was on heavily medicated, so I'm not 100% sure. Oh, Doc, this is Dr. Exclusive. That's my hockey guy that I like to ask hockey questions of. He is the man. Here's another one. SGC damaged one of my cards. They saw my declared value, but saw it was going for more on eBay. So they gave me the more than I declared. They called me directly to apologize. And that sounds like that's the way Peter and all of them are rolling right now, right? That we talked about that at the beginning of the show. They're probably the tops right now when it comes to customer service. How they were at the National last year was freaking awesome, right? I mean, Mike will tell you, Mike walk by, and the guy goes, "Oh, you're Mike. He won a prize with him. Saw the name, and he, you know, gives us. Oh, that wasn't me. Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, we're gonna talk though, Refractor. You cracked me. Hopefully he's on Bobbles next time, right? I think
Yeah,
did y'all question he was gonna be on Bobbles next time?
yeah.
But
He's a good one to follow.
yeah, yeah. And I think I tell anybody, I had a couple of guys at the national that are in my community that, and one should they start a channel before they can get it out of their mouth, because everybody has something that they can share to the community, their 2 cents, a way of a view that hasn't been thought of, when it comes to this community of cards and whatnot. It's just, yeah, there we go. Maybe I'll get on that one with you, Refractor, and then we could meet.
Yeah, y'all need to get on there. And I said this on the other one the other night, and I'll reiterate it real quick, is that if you don't make videos and you want to get your feet wet when Scott gives you, like here, an open invitation, or any other content creator gives you an open invitation, take it. It's
Right.
an easy way, because especially with the software a lot of us use, all you do is click a link.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, this is you can see me working it. I am I'm okay with computers. I'm not old, but I'm not the greatest either. It's kind of passed me by. I'm in that weird age group where we were still doing DOS in high school, and it wasn't quite the way it was by the time I got out of college or finished college, when they asked me to leave college, whatever you want to put it. 357. I am not in Charlotte. I'm actually moving to Winston-Salem, just north of Charlotte. Isn't that correct, Natsman?
yes, sir. I'm like 5 minutes down the road from Charlotte city limits, but
Right.
In the county line. But yeah, that's about a 45-minute hour drive up.
Yeah.
77.
Yeah, and it's straight highway. I love it's 3 hours from my hometown in Virginia, so can't wait. I can't wait to just all that whole area just feels like home for me. So I just can't wait for a software developer. I'm remarkably competent using my computer at times. This Carlisle, I hope you're somewhere where I can meet you and shake your hand. You crack me up. This is I wish I was as good as Wesley Griff grading, going through the value boxes. So
I didn't know. Did you have? I didn't know if you were gonna, if you had another topic, but I've got one that I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick your brain on.
All right.
And even y'all out there, please give your 2 cents worth. I'm curious. I'd watched the video over the weekend, and it was about content creators and whether they should be, and we kind of touched about it, like somebody like Nolan being an influencer, or having, famous folks, it being influencers for the hobby, like saying, I'll use LeBron for an example. LeBron, we want to see what you're collecting, kind of deal.
Right.
Is a way for Topps to start going, or maybe is that something Fanatics might do? How does people feel about having, because there's Gary V. They say they manipulate the market, but I'm just kind of curious, what do people think about having like true influencers for the hobby? Like
I wish one of these companies, or when you had dead times in the TV world of sports or whatever, almost the MTV Cribs, but being in the collecting world, where these football players exchange jerseys and You hear about players underneath the bleachers getting other players' autographs or exchanging bats and things like that. And I would love for somebody to be able to do a show where these guys collect stuff, right? I don't know if you're much into wrestling, but the Miz he did his own show or whatever with him and his wife. At the beginning, like his first house, he showed off his like title belts and all that stuff. That stuff is intriguing. I've seen some of the players that have jerseys all over the walls and stuff, like in their pool rooms or whatever, and hear the stories because I started following what's his face, the pitcher or whatever that has about 8,000 or
Trevor Bauer.
No, not Bauer.
Oh,
that does the collecting.
Yeah, he'll be at the ballpark and open up a pack of cards sitting up in the stadium.
No, somebody's already retired. I can't think of his name right now, but I wanted to hear story like him pull out a card and go, "Oh, I pitched against this guy. He couldn't, he hit a bomb," but he doesn't talk about any of that stuff. And I'm like, that's not what I'm watching you for.
Phil Hughes.
Phil Hughes. There you go. Bam. So, Matt Strom. But Matt Strom talks about the game that he's. I like Matt Strom. Yeah, thank you, Pyres. Phil Hughes. I went. The 90s was a hell of a decade, man. Sometimes stuff like that kind of. Fanatics is definitely going to use athletes as cross promoters, and I've even seen halftime shows featuring breaks. Fanatics will do whatever they can get a common person involved in the hobby. I believe at Refractor, they spent way too much money to have this hobby slide downward at all. I can tell you that, and I don't know if that's a good thing for us as collectors or what. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, they said that they just had that meeting, the top industry meeting, and there's been some videos out there where they said that there's a population that hasn't even been touched yet.
Oh, I'm sure.
For cards, and it's all about the numbers game.
Yeah,
and that they're going to explode it.
Well, I when you go to work, how many people at your job collect cards? I have 400 some people at my job.
None. Well, no one. I got one person.
Right. There's 3 of us, and one of them only collects the stuff that I give him. So it's like, he wants I give him twin stuff. He's my best friend at work. He loves Pokemon. I'm hoping to have him on my show as my last guest while I'm in Iowa. But I just think, when it comes to sports cards, it's only a couple of us at the work that does this. YouTube sports card influencers will tell you to collect what you love. And the next sentence they will say, "Now let me tell you what you should love." That's exactly right. Hold on. Here we go.
Yep.
Coming in the bottom of the ninth from Philadelphia, PA.
Completely exhausted.
Oh my God. I'm listen.
What's up, Mike Fish?
What's up?
Mike, not only is it an honor and a privilege, but you're the nicest Philly fan on the face of the earth.
There's a couple of them. Wesker Griff, Ray for Philly. I've changed my mind on how to talk to Philly fans.
There's a few decent fans. There's a few idiots out there too, but
So what quick synopsis on CSG changing this. Do you think, because I know you're doing cards, you have talked about it after I moved, doing some stuff. So what do you think for long term? This has got to be a good thing, right?
I mean, I think it's something they had to do.
Right.
I think
they were watching your videos.
I mean,
they addressed everything you talk about.
When I saw the announcement, I was like, I swear I've said this. I was like, I know I've said this stuff on multiple podcasts, on multiple videos, on other people's channels. I'm like, maybe they're my biggest fan. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But like honestly, like so CSG clearly has money. Like they have a lot of money backing them, a
Right.
ton. Where they should be able to legitimately compete with PSA. Certainly, it's going to take some time. Not going to be something that happens overnight. I think they have more money behind them than probably SGC. I would just assume,
Right.
especially when they have like Fanatics people somewhat involved and eBay and all that stuff. And sure, the label was holding them back a little bit because whether you liked it or I didn't mind it or whatever, the general consensus was this label's hideous.
Right.
A lot of people didn't mind it, but a lot of people, it was enough of a turnoff that people wouldn't even give them a chance, which is kind of dumb in a way. I mean, certainly the aesthetic and the way it looks does play a role in you enjoying your collection, but some people just have the blinders on and they're not even looking at how things are graded. Just the same way some people are like, oh, it's a 10. They won't even look at the card.
Right.
Card could have a dinged corner and could have just, fallen through, but if it's got the 10, who cares? So I think the label was a little bit of an issue, but to me, I think the grading scale was the big problem. On occasion, I do. On occasion. Um, I just think the grading scale, like going with the Beckett scale, it's like the age of the dinosaurs. Like,
Right.
I get it. At one point, people were all into Beckett, but it's kind of it's been a few years since that's been the case. And I do think generally people like the round number. People like the 10. They like just the look of the 10. And now, especially with PSA being so popular among all the new collectors, people who didn't barely know what a baseball card was 2 years ago, that have all gotten in and watched people on YouTube, or Instagram or whatever. Instagram's probably a bigger influence than YouTube really at this point.
Right.
They just see PSA and they're going to look at the 10s, so people want 10s. And not everyone's going to understand the grading scales. So I think getting over to that scale at this point was a move that will help them long term. Of course, there's going to be some people who are annoyed. Of course, if you just got your cards back, last week, you're going to be like, what the hell? I just got all these labels, and now you're going to have new labels coming out in 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure that's annoying to some,
I
but
got 50 cards coming probably like Monday in the mail. So
hey,
Mike,
maybe Big Scott 35 will be the
first,
first new labels on YouTube. We'll see.
ah, I saw the grades and they were
Old school
9.5
grades.
Gem. Yeah. So
Well, never mind.
because I looked at the grades and then when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. And I went back and looked at the grades again and I was like, yeah, that's still the old grades. So yeah, I was kind of hoping like, ooh, if I get that, that will be the first. Get me to 1,000.
That could have been your breakthrough. You'd have like 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, that'd have been my second viral video. I'm a
hey,
room.
hey, Mike, I got a question for you. On with it being with the new grade scale, SGC's moved up this year. I mean, I think we could have probably, us three at least, agree that they're a solid number 2 within the hobby for vendors, put for product. But with BGS, do you think with this whole thing with CSG, that's a nail in the coffin for them for just your typical cards that they would get, unless it's like really ultra high end stuff?
I mean, I don't think it's helping them. I really don't know what's going on at Beckett. I don't know if it's a big slumber party, if they all just fell asleep. Like, I don't. In the age where like everything's boomed, and obviously PSA, like they got hammered and they've been behind and catching up. And again, when you're in the midst of kind of transform, like for CSG, like you're going to change the label at some point. Like they had to know that that was a business move that they decided, and we kind of knew it was coming. You were getting surveys and stuff a few months back. Like they have to do it at some point, so someone's going to be the cutoff, and they're going to disappoint someone regardless. And PSA, same thing. Like it's awesome that people are submitting cards for their 90-day service and they're getting them back in 5 weeks, but it still sucks if you're like me and so many others, and you're like, oh, these cards been out for a year. Where the hell are they? But they're not going to wait till every single card's caught up before they start accepting more stuff. But I don't understand what Beckett's doing. Like they kind of shut down. They sort of accepted stuff. They raised prices. They're super slow. Like they're not innovating. The one good thing I'll say about grading right now, much like cards were in the 90s when there were multiple companies, of course, exclusive licensing throws that out the window, but competition is great for the consumers. Sure, prices are still a little higher than we want. Perhaps at some point, PSA lowers their prices, which then in turn causes SGC to lower them. CSG maybe stays kind of firm right now, being kind of the best pricing out there. But we're seeing improvements. I mean, SGC's kicked ass for a while, right? They had their little hiccup at one point. Now PSA is including images with submissions, which SGC has done for several years now, which is super convenient, super nice, just kind of an added bonus. CSG was doing it, but you had to pay something outrageous, like $5. I'm not sure what their plan is going forward. You know, they're making plans with the cases. CSG's cases, amazing, probably, you know, number one actual cases when they came out. And I think you will see the other companies at some point strengthen their cases. CSG doing kind of the different grading scale to compete with them. They're trying to move things up. SGC is getting stuff out very quickly because that's kind of their business model. Hey, let's get stuff turned around as soon as possible. Let's do great customer service. So I think you're going to continue to see improvements as all these companies, you know, jockey. And I don't think anyone's even trying to get to PSA or surpass PSA at this point. Maybe, you know, that's a long-term play, but they want that number 2 spot. Even that 3 spot, there's a lot of money to be made there. And, you know, I think you'd still consider Beckett, you know, in the top 3, but I don't see why that wouldn't change very soon with CSG making moves. So
Yeah. I brought this up earlier, and you might have been listening, because to me, CSG, they're number one in everything else that they do, right? Comic books, currency, paper, like just all kinds of different things that they grade. They're like one of the top in the world at doing this stuff. So they have the pedigree.
yeah, I don't know what the hell took them so long to get into sports cards. It's
Well,
not like sports cards haven't been being graded for a long time.
right. And they need to, the only non-sport cards they do is
Are the trading card games?
yeah, and they only do Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, I think.
They don't do Magic.
They might do Magic. I know at one time they only had like 2, because I sent them an email wondering, you know, when they're going to start doing non-sports cards other than those 2, and they said it's in the plan. So
It is bizarre that they're not just done with like why they had to label it sports trading cards. They couldn't just do trading cards.
right. And
Because
I
I do
got
remember
Star Wars
someone.
stuff.
Yeah, I think Ed wanted to send in like Star Wars things one time, and I was like, oh, they don't let you do it for whatever reason.
Well, JD, I ain't been on yours in a while, so
yeah. Well, me and Natsman already had this plan before we went on the other.
yeah.
But yeah, and last minute, Mike and Ed and JT, because it was when I have questions with my grading, they're the guys that I talk to.
Was that the biggest thing you heard, Mike, being a bulk submission for, I guess, you know, for CSG? Was the label? Was that the biggest feedback that you were hearing from your customers, or just in general?
I mean, I think just seeing stuff on Twitter and even YouTube. But my thing is too, I always hear people kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, talk shit on stuff when they haven't, like people be like, oh, their slab is ugly. I'm like, well, I think I know what you're talking about. You mean the label is ugly, because the slab is beautiful unless you've never touched the slab, which in many cases I think is the truth. A lot of people never actually saw the slab, but also people don't look at the grading, and that's why I make it a point to try and at least use services. Listen, it doesn't take, I don't know how to say it nicely, but I kind of knew what GMA was, right? But I still said to myself about a year ago, I'm like, I'm going to submit a few cards and just, so I can actually speak from it. And I submitted a card that has a defect on it. I'm like, this should be like a PSA 6. I was like, I bet it gets a GMA 10. It got itself a GMA 10. So, but for the most part, like, I mean, I even used HGA, and what I found, at least with the ultra modern stuff, like their grading was fairly spot on. I'm not saying I would trust them. I wouldn't send them like a 51 Willie Mays, and be real confident that they were able to authenticate it, because I don't think they're really super card experts. I think they have a program and some people that can grade ultra modern cards, but I also feel like that's a lot easier than authenticating, $30,000 cards and stuff like that.
And sometimes they even spell right. It's amazing.
They do. In all fairness, they all mislabel stuff, but
it's just
theirs is pretty bad. Theirs is clearly like bad data entry, not something wrong. I think CSG, I might add like 2 things mislabeled, and they fixed it super quick.
Right.
SGC, I've only had 1 or 2 ever, and they'll fix it. Obviously for you. They just let you send it in. PSA, I used to have a lot of 500 card submissions where I would get like 4, 5, 6, 7 cards mislabeled,
right.
But it was always it was actually mislabeled. It wasn't, we spelled Michael Jordan incorrectly. That's pretty bad.
Well, they mislabeled PSA mislabeled my Wander Franco on card auto, and it was instead they reversed his name.
Franco Wander.
Yep. I still sold it, still got my money out of it that I wanted, but I was like,
well, the thing is with them too, like, I mean, if it's not going to cost you that much, it's like, do you really want to deal with waiting an eternity for them to fix it? Because they will take a long time to fix it.
Yeah.
They aren't quick.
I could tell you, CSG put one of my my cards backwards in the holder. It was one of my see-through cards that I love to get graded, but it was one of my bigger cards, and I made contact, called them. They told me exactly what to do. They
they send you a
return
UPS label or whatever.
Yeah, and I put on their machine error ME on the package, and I got it back within a week. So you can't beat that. I mean, people are going to make. It's not about making a mistake; it's how you fix the mistake. So that to me meant a lot, and it just seems like they don't care. Unlike PSA, how much money you spend. Like SGC, you send 1 card in, they're going to treat you like a guy sending 1,000 cards. So, I mean, look at when they pulled your name. You're not one of the 2,000 submitters, but they knew who you were, right? At the national, they knew exactly who you were. So.
They did.
So, and I got to applaud. They didn't take cards there, but man, did they put an impression on a lot of people there. And PSA did cards there, and they pissed off a lot of people there for taking cards. How can you take cards at the show and get them back to us in 3 days? But I got a card there at your place for over a year. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and it's just it's bad enough that it's a year, but you do have so many factors. You have the Kyle Lewis cards that were $100 when you sent them in. And then even if they took 3 months, they were still $75. And then a year and a half later, they're $14. And it's like, you can make an argument like, oh, you shouldn't have sent them in. But it's like, well, if you even got close to the service you were expecting or paying for, you would have been okay. Or in my case, I had like a matchbook I sent to them that I just wanted authenticated and encapsulated. Like, I didn't care what the grade was. Sure, if I got a 10, that would be amazing because, 100-year-old item, but obviously expectations were 1 or 2, and they don't even slab it and send it back a year later. You're like, what the hell? And then I send it to SGC and get it back in 2 weeks. So, well, I think I know where I'm going with most of my collection items, going forward.
Right. Yeah, I just kind of figure, with my bulk stuff with CSG, that's going to be my lower end PC stuff, like things like just my Virginia collection and some lower, like my Greg Jeffries cards or something like that.
Greg Jeffries collector, Big
Yeah.
Scott 35's new. Let's take a vote. What is Big Scott 35 changing his channel name to? Greg Jeffries collector or acetate collector?
That's right.
Clear slabs.
Acetate.
How does he spell acetate?
Acetate.
Those things can be hard to grade sometimes.
They are.
I had a few of the what were they? Clearly Authentic. I remember I would buy them like back in 2018, 2019, and they'd come scratched up. Guys open them on eBay and slide them all over. I'm like, you couldn't have put this in a soft sleeve or of some sort.
Right.
Trying to grade some of them just because they look nice in the cases. Not easy.
That or you get a nice case and you're the only person I've ever heard of complaining about scratched cases in sheer volume. But
oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. 357, I understand exactly what you're saying. I wish they get their act together on which way. If they put them in the holder and the back was up and down the right way, I can understand it. But they just throw it in all of them, all three, all.
I was going to say, I think I have some PSAs there where literally the same order. They're both ways. I was like,
yeah,
what?
And it's not just PSA; all of them do that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So there you
go. Hashtag it matters.
Yeah, I just and me and Mike, baseball collector, I talking about changing my name because of Bink, but we
no
are
need
who
to
we are.
rebrand. You're Big Scott 35. He's Bink Scott. You just have to,
He is Gary.
He's Gary Scott if he pops into a live sale. Because I could tell the difference, but someone who doesn't maybe watch YouTube all the time or maybe they're up there in years a little more, they're more likely to get confused.
Papa
as we've seen.
Man, I don't have any problems with the Papa. Yeah, so.
Have you gotten any Juan Soto cards that Westergriff has said to get yet?
Has he made an offer on the auto?
No, yeah. Every time I show off a Soto card, he's like, put it in my stack. As in, like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we'll see.
I've been really surprised how many Juan Soto PCers there are that I didn't know until, you started saying something here recently that I've been able to catch, and I didn't realize Eric, those back pages, he is a Juan Soto guy. I was like,
the funny thing about that Soto, Allen and Ginter Chrome autograph that I showed off in the SGC reveal, I didn't pull that.
Yes,
I didn't pull that. My dad pulled that because we ordered a bunch of those boxes, and I opened some. We opened some together. He opened some on his own, and then at some point, I forget, but I was super busy. I was like, whatever, you can open this stuff one of these days and whatever. So like it was days later. He like gave me the box that he opened. I didn't look at it for like 3-4 days. He just had them, the cards in the box. And I'm going through, and I think I called him up, and I'm like, you didn't tell me you got a Soto autograph. He's like, I did? He had it in the pile. He thought it was just like he somehow didn't even notice it. I'm like, what, were you falling asleep when you were opening this? He's like, I don't know, maybe.
I saw
that was sitting in a stack of base cards. So
it's a beautiful card.
It's a damn nice card. I love Ginter autographs, and then the little chrome to it. They have Schmidt this year, and Harper's got a card, but when I've seen them, and there've been very few of them, price has been up there a little bit. So we'll see. Ginter Chrome is it's weird because it's like this with a lot of products. Just not a lot of it's getting broken, or people are breaking it for their collection. They're not, these guys reselling everything. So you just don't see a ton of the stuff. And really, the print runs.
Yeah, it's not a big.
I mean, you always hear it like with the investing channels, like, oh, pop report this, pop report that, all that crap. Like the print run, and then people talk about tops, right? Oh, 2022 tops is 800,000 of each card or 1 million and this. I'm pretty sure based on the calculations, like I was looking at, like I think Ginter Chrome this year, the print run for the base set's like 6,000. Like it's pretty low. Will it ever be super popular? I don't know. But fast forward like 20 years, like the refractors, there's probably like 800 of them. The minis, probably less than 1,000. And last year's Ginter Chrome 2020 is like half of that. So I'm sure this coming year will be a higher print run as we see with most things. But I mean, they're just not super highly produced, but they look great. I think they look awesome. Love the shine on them and everything.
See the question Recent D has for you?
I do. I don't know. I like it, but I don't know.
I gotta
we'll
put
see.
a picture up on the Facebook question. I liked your Facebook question today. That was a good one.
I was actually pleasantly surprised. There was a lot of participation on it.
I only
put a couple pictures up, and they were SGC ones because I had them handy. It was like, oh, I don't have any of my PSA cards.
I'm going to answer this one for 357. I get this a lot.
Big Hurt, right?
Huh?
Big Hurt?
Big Hurt. So when I first made I'm a huge gamer, if anybody doesn't know that. My game sign was Big Scott, and I was going to put 8. Well, it was taken. I wore 35 playing softball. Everybody called me Big Hurt, so I was Big Scott 35, spelled regularly. And then when I went to start my YouTube channel, I already had a YouTube name, but I couldn't remember what the password was. So I had to put the 1 in for the I and make, because that's how all my friends know me is Big Scott now. Or, I have a lot of nicknames, but that one seems to stick the most. So, because there's always I'm the Big Scott, and there's always usually a little Scott around. So that's the reason why. Good question. I get that quite a bit. But I love Frank too. So I got that from softball days, though.
Yeah. Well,
Everybody has a price.
Back in the day, I was rooting really hard for the White Sox to win the 93 pennant because I liked Frank Thomas. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to see the White Sox and Phillies play in the World Series. But it turned out to be Toronto and the Phillies, Joe Carter, tears from Mike O. I mean, everyone brings up Joe Carter, so why not bring it up again?
Right. Yeah, because, that White Sox team with Bo and Ventura and Ozzie Guillen, and that was just a fun team to watch. And that was just some good old baseball fun. Then, yeah, the Joe Carter, that was me and you did live. Well, go ahead, Nats, man.
Oh my God, I got my email popped up, and I went over and looked, and that Charlotte O's card, the blue one I got.
Yeah.
I got the PSA graded orange one. We've been going back and forth for over a year.
No doubt.
And he finally took an offer.
Right.
And it's a pop one, but it's Charlotte O's with Cal Ripken playing there. So
yeah.
Not the Cal Ripken card, y'all, but it's the
right. Well, congrats on that, man. That's a good way to end this one. I'm glad Mike jumped on with us tonight. Went a little long again, which
not for me. This was like the shortest episode I ever did with you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Y'all keep going. I'll drop off.
Yeah. So I want to thank both of y'all for coming on, and thank everybody in the chat. Very lively group tonight. nice group number of people watching. I really appreciate y'all watching. People that watch this on the playback, leave some comments. Let me know what you're thinking about the grading, CSG, short term, long term. Yeah, it's going to be some growing pains at the beginning for everybody, but I just think in the long run, this is going to be best for the hobby because this will give us a solid another alternative out there. That's we have another quality company that's running everything about the same way as everyone else, and not
And with the same grading scale, it'll be less
that's
confusion for all the
right.
newer people out there.
Exactly, and and I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be okay tomorrow morning.
We'll see. Most likely.
Done. So for me, Nats fan, Mike O. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.